All right, it's recording.
Hello, race fans. Welcome to episode number 9 of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. I am your host, Steve Ovens, coming to you from Bozeman, Montana. And in the Casa De Porkchop Studios, we've got our co-host, Clint Miller, and B. Rad running the board. How you boys doing tonight?
Good, Steven. How you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I got no complaints. It's a crisp 43 degrees out here in Montana.
Crisp. Crisp is right outside our back door here.
You guys dig yourself out of the snow yet?
Oh, yeah. It was, if you stayed ahead of it, it wasn't too bad. And then I had a nice gentleman down the street with his tractor, did the sidewalks and stuff, so it was all right.
I just drive through the snow.
Yeah, he's got his little Subi. He'll just drive through the snow. Well, race fans, we thank you for tuning in tonight. We are the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by motorsportsnutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by horsepower360.com. We're also sponsored by Penn Electronics down on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn. We're also sponsored by Creekside Entertainment, the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Podcast, as well as our friends over at Race Chaser Online and Speed 77 Radio. And boys, we're going to start off the show with a big announcement tonight. We are taking Turn 5 on the road.
Yes, we are.
Drum roll, please.
No, never mind.
We are going to be taking the December 23rd, next Monday's show. We're taking it on the road. We're going to be going out to the Poorhouse there on Water Street in downtown Dundee, right down the road from Black Rock Speedway. So we want to send a call out to all of our listeners and race fans over in the Dundee area. If you're going to be in Dundee next Monday night, we're going to start shooting the show around 7 o'clock. We'd like to have as many of the Dundee, Hemrod, Penn area drivers that want to come out and talk with us for a few minutes while we're doing the show there on location to come out and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Clint, we had this idea when we first thought about even doing the show, was taking it on the road a little bit. So I know I'm excited to get out there and meet with some of the drivers.
Who would have thought that it was episode 9 we'd be doing it already?
Yeah, next week will be episode number 10. Can you believe that?
No, I can't, man. This is awesome. And the feedback is amazing.
It really has been. And you look over the course of the shows that we've put together. I know I sent you guys some numbers the other day. I didn't even have any updated numbers, but last week's show with Jeremy Petrobowski and Dale Welty has been one of our most popular. Right behind the Ladies Lounge and the episode that we had Craig Mart on. And speaking of Craig, we're probably going to have to see if we can't get Craig over to the Poorhouse next Monday night. Because every time we have him on, we have a show that goes almost 200 viewers.
I'm sure that could be arranged.
So
yeah, I'm going to see if I can get the Double Deuce Coupe down there too to come hang out with us for a little while.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. I'd love to have Carl on the show. And again, any of those drivers out, if you can get to downtown Dundee, come and join us next Monday at 7 o'clock right there at the Poorhouse. I want to send a tip of the cap to the Jeff and everybody on his staff there at the Poorhouse. That's been a regular weekly venue at Creekside Entertainment for 2 or 3 years now, maybe more. And just been a great partner, and we're happy to partner with them with the podcast. And it should be a good time out there.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if Jared Hill or Richie Sarpsteen, even though you've already been on the show, you were on one of our first episodes, come on down again. It's been 3 months since we've talked to you. Tell us how your winter's going. Tell us how the cars are going.
We talked to those guys right before the Empire 100, and it'd be great to talk to those guys about how the 2014 plans are coming along. So, yeah, that would be awesome. And then to roll into tonight's show, Clint, we got a special show tonight and next week. Tonight we're running our All Sportsman special. So tonight on the show, we're going to have 2013 Canandaigua Motorsports Park Sportsman Mod Champion Kevin Ridley on the show. We'll be talking to him here in a few minutes. We've also got Sportsman Modified competitor at Black Rock and Woodhall Raceway track champion Chris Doherty will be on the show. And it'll be fun to talk to him because he's quite a shoe both on the dirt and on the asphalt. Mm-hmm. So that'll be fun to talk to him about.
Yeah,
and rounding out
he just sold one of his cars here a couple weeks ago.
Well, you know, in doing a little bit of research on that interview, I didn't realize that he had two different cars, one at Woodhull, one at Black Rock.
Yep.
So
yep.
That was going to be one of my questions to him was about that, because certainly they were on the money down at Woodhull, but boy, at Black Rock, they won the first one out of the chute, and after that, they struggled terribly. So we will talk to Chris all about that. And then wrapping up the show is going to be the driver of the Givos Rears and Gears 25G. Nick Guererri is going to join us on the show and tell us about his season. I know that there was some trying weeks there for the Givos crew and the Guererri clan, and those guys, you know, for about a month or so, seemed like they were the only ones winning the features over there at Canandaigua, and they were winning them under what was probably the hardest circumstances. So we're going to talk to Nick about that and his plans for 2014. And let's see, later on in the show, we've got a couple topics we're going to talk about. We are going to send it over to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into our first interview with Kevin Ridley. You're listening to Turn 5.
MotorsportsNutrition.com is Turn 5's official home of race day and recovery supplements. Developed for racers, by racers, with over 30 years behind the wheel, MotorsportsNutrition.com has the right Advocare supplements to keep you going. On race day, turn to healthy Advocare products trusted by NASCAR, the NCAA, Olympic athletes, and 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Visit them on the web at www.motorsportsnutrition.com or call Christy at 330-431-9714 and tell them Steve and Clint sent you. Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
Kick off your holiday shopping now at Radio Shack. You'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. We're powered by MotorsportsNutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by Horsepower360.com. Clint, we're going to head over to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in our first guest of the night. And that would be the driver of the number 20X Sportsman over at the Canandaigua Motorsports Park. He's also your 2013 track champion for the Sportsman at Canandaigua. That is the driver, Kevin Ridley. Kevin, how are you tonight, my friend?
Good, thank you. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Good.
Can't go wrong talking racing.
That's right.
Now, you've been in this Sportsman game for a few years now. How did you first get started?
It was basically in the Sportsman class. Me and my buddy decided we were going to buy a car, and we did that. And it was when the crate engine was first introduced. So people said we were crazy. We were the first ones to have them around here, and we went out and had some success right away. Really, I mean, my first season, I don't think I won a race my first season, but I had multiple top 5 finishes, and then in my second season where we actually started winning some races. So we started right here in the Sportsman class. It was this was our 9th season, the completion of our 9th season here. So.
Wow, that's great. Coming up on year number 10.
Yes, sir.
Now, what was it that drew you into the races? Did you go to a race, or did you have somebody that raced that you kind of followed, or how did that all come about?
Yeah, since I was a little kid, my parents took us to the races, and my uncle raced back in when it was Dundee. They had 4-cylinder modifieds back then, and he raced in those. So every week we'd go, and we'd watch guys like Kurt Van Pelt, Walt Mitchell, Mark Ostrow, all those guys. My brother and I, every week we'd look forward to going to the races, and I guess we just got hooked at a young age. So
I'm sure a few of those guys, Clint, you used to root for too.
Oh yeah, I was always a fan of Mark Osterhout because he drove the Ford number 38, if I remember right. Walt Mitchell had some interesting stories about Walt. A great man. I remember them all.
Now let's talk about your 2013 season, Kevin. You picked up the championship, and it just seemed like you guys had that Novocaine mentality. We're just going to keep being there. You guys had, out of 18 races, you had 17 top 10s, 11 top 5s to go along with 3 wins. I mean, you guys just really laid it on. You guys were just there every week.
Yeah, we put together a pretty good season. I mean, we would have liked to have more wins, but it just didn't work out that. We had a bunch of second-place finishes and challenging for the lead at the very end, but at Canandaigua, there's, some of the stiffest competition there, around, so it's hard to come from 18th to win a race there. So, we're happy with the way the season went. Like I said, we'd like to have some more wins, but, running the top 10 every week and, top 5s almost every week as well is a tremendous feat for us.
Now, was there ever a point during the season that you would consider a low part of the season, or was it just kind of consistent the whole way through?
To be honest with you, we came out of the gate, we won the first 2 races. And after the second race, the track decided that they were going to take our engine and dyno it. So they took our engine down, it came back legal or whatever, So we put it back in, we went out and finished second the very next night with it. So, after that, we thought, we were really good. And then we just, hit a wall there. Like, we could run near the top 5, but we just couldn't crack it. And we just couldn't figure out what was going on. And, hour after hour in the shop, we finally figured out what was wrong with the car. We got it back, and we won the very next week again. So, wow. I'd say the 4th, 5th, and 6th week, finally, we kind of hit a wall. But after that, we were pretty solid the rest of the season.
It's pretty cool when you can see you hit a wall and you still ended up in the top 10.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's all because of the help I have. There's countless hours of people working on my car helping me, and that's what it takes.
Of the tracks that you've had a chance to run, I mean, was Canandaigua your only place this year, or did you get over to the Wheels or any other place?
Yeah, we went to Rolling Wheels place. We never have any luck there. It seems like every time we go there, I get tangled up in someone else's mess, and it gets frustrating for me. So we only went one time this year, and again, that happened. We got caught up in a wreck, and it's tough. We all work 40-hour-a-week jobs. Some of us work 50 hours a week, and it's hard to go on a Wednesday and tear up your car and get it ready again for Saturday. So we didn't do much traveling this year. We did a little. We went to Brewerton, and then obviously there's one race at Rolling Wheels, and then for the most part we were at Canandaigua.
And what is it about Canandaigua that you like so much about running there?
All my friends and family are there. It's easy for my father to get to. My brother goes every week. He helps out people there. And, my brother-in-law, my sister, everyone goes. My girlfriend, her family, they run the tow truck there. So it's just nice because, like I said, everyone's there. So
that's a theme we hear quite a lot, Clint, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, it seems like everybody's got family, best friends they consider family at the track helping them, or just like I said, or just at the track, and That's great.
You know, another thing is Canandaigua is typically, you know, hard slick, but it's also nice and smooth and wide. So you can race, you know, side by side. You don't have to be right on someone's door to pass them, and it makes the racing so much cleaner. You know, at the banquet, I stood up on the stage, you know, and I said to the guys, you know, I'd like to, you know, say thanks to everybody we raced with this year in the Sportsman class there, because the racing was so clean. You know, I mean, it was nothing to bring your car home on a Saturday night and then Sunday wash it and just wrench it. You didn't really have to do anything to it, you know. How often can you go to a Sportsman, you know, race at a track all season and have the same four wheels that you started the season with? You know, it just doesn't happen very often.
That's almost unheard of.
Yeah, same. I mean, I started the season with the same four wheels I finished with and the same set of bumpers all the way around the car. And that is like, that never happens, it seems. So, you know, a lot of it, again, has to do with the track as well. But Jeremy does a fantastic job with the surface. So, you know, it doesn't tear up equipment. It makes it a little bit easier to work on during the week.
Yeah, and Jeremy seems to be one of those guys, too, that is a fun guy to race for. I mean, everybody that runs at Canandaigua, or even if you're there as a spectator, they all see how much and how hard Jeremy works on that racetrack.
Yeah, he definitely does work hard on the surface. You know, he's got that place, you know, looking great. I mean, Jeremy and I have had our differences. I think, you know, a lot of people in Jeremy have had their differences, but, you know, it's still, you know, a top-notch facility to go race at. So that's what makes it worth going back.
Yeah, and it seems like Jeremy's one of those guys that, I mean, I've never met the man personally. I don't get over there near as much as I'd like. I mean, I follow it via the internet and Facebook and all that other stuff. But family obligations keep me away from there most Saturday nights. But it just seems like Jeremy's one of those type of guys that just gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. He does a lot for the fans. He brings in Tony Stewart 2 times a year, you know, and he brings in, you know, all sorts of late model series sprint cars, you know, so he's got a lot going, you know, and it's a lot of work, I'm sure, and, you know, he does it just, you know, because he loves it, I guess.
Now, in the years that you've been racing, Kevin, do you have a win that stands out among the others? I mean, for whatever special occasion it might have been, or a race you had to come from behind, or do you have anything like that?
Yeah, we've won a bunch of races. I think, you know, since I started racing, I think we've got, you know, about 24, 25 wins. I'm not really sure. We've won some from the back. I think the one that I look back at the most is probably the Bruden race. You know, 63 cars showed up there, 68 cars, somewhere around there, you know, and, you know, we ended up winning that race, and it was, you know, it was pretty cool. You know, we came, I don't know, from 5th or 6th, not very far back, but, I mean, when you get 60 cars at a Sportsman race, you're racing with some of the best guys in the state, or in this, you know, in this area, in the Northeast. So, that race kind of meant a lot, so. And plus, it's in front of, you know, a pretty big crowd, so.
Yeah, but it's...
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a lot of pride.
And another race, I won the first ever Futures race at Syracuse, Futures Sportsman race. I won that. I mean, obviously, it's not a full-blown Sportsman race, but that was pretty cool to win a race at Syracuse, even though it was just, you know, a rookie race. But,
well, anytime you can win a race at the Moody Mile is something.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience everyone should have.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that are going to go there for 20 or 25, 30 years to race and never be able to say that they won there. So that's a feat in itself, Kevin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, looking ahead for 2014, have you guys started to think about your plans yet?
You know, it was funny at the banquet we were talking about that, what we were going to do. We're not 100% sure yet. I mean, we still have a car we have it for sale, trying to get rid of it to upgrade. And there's been quite a bit of interest. It just hasn't gone yet. So we'll see. We'll give it a few more weeks here and see what happens. If nothing else doesn't move, we'll just upgrade some of the parts on it and probably race it again. I'm not sure if we'll run the full season at Canandaigua this year. I would like to run some of that grit series. You know, do some more traveling. I mean, it kind of gets stale week after week after week doing the same thing. This was our second championship, so we really have nothing else to prove at Canandaigua or anything like that. So, you know, traveling, getting to meet some new people and getting to, you know, experience some new places, I think might be the way we go this year.
All right. Well, and you talk about that grit series. It sounds like that's a series that's really starting to gain some traction. Pardon the pun, but is really gaining traction with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got some great incentives to run it, and they broke it up into regions, so it makes it a little bit easier to follow. There are some combined races that are, have you traveling a little bit further than I would normally like to, but for the purses, it kind of makes up for it.
That's great. Well, before we let you go tonight, number one, thank you for joining us tonight and giving us part of your evening to be on the Turn 5 podcast. And before we let you go, I want to give you a chance to thank the crew, family, sponsors that helped get that 20X to this year's championship.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. Again, like my sponsors, I got Milt's Precision Collision. They came on this year and helped us out a lot. Their sponsorship is performance-based, and because we had such a great season, we had a pretty good relationship with them. Foxy Tan, tanning place in Geneva on 14. I've got Fred Savenpol, Givo's Rears and Gears. Givo comes to the races with us every week. He's always there with us on. He's a big help. Let's see. I got Timmy Johnson. He helps us with the engines, tuning them up, keep them going every week. Mahaney Racing Shocks. He helps us out with our shocks, every week. He's calling us up, seeing if we can make any changes to make us faster. And, you can't ask for better sponsors than that. And that's about it. That's what I got.
All right. Well, thanks again, Kevin, for joining us tonight. And, as you guys start to, figure out what your season for 2014 is going to unfold, let us know, and we'll get back hold of you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, you guys can get a hold of me anytime you'd like.
All right. All right, race fans. That is Kevin Ridley, driver of the 20X in the Sportsman, this year's track champion over at the Canandaigua Motorsports Park. And when we come back from break, Clint, we're going to dive into interview number 2 with Woodhall's track champion, Chris Doherty. You're listening to Turn 5.
Turn 5 is marketed weekly by Horsepower360.com. At Horsepower360, they know how crucial branding is for your business or product to race fans locally and nationwide. Make the wrong move and damage to your brand can be irreversible. Make the right move with expert staff at Horsepower360, and the dividends can be endless. They also develop and promote race drivers and teams like 410 Sprint Car driver and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith and Rob Warco Racing's number 94. Visit them online at www.horsepower360.com. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Kick off your holiday shopping now at Radio Shack. You'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, fueled by motorsportsnutrition.com and marketed to you weekly by horsepower360.com. Clint, we're going to bring in another Sportsman competitor from the Canandaigua Motorsports Park, and this is a guy that the fans are going to want to keep their eye on for years to come. And that is the driver of the number 25G, Nick Guererri. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
Not bad. How are you guys doing?
We are doing well. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
So let's start it out with this. I mean, the Guererri name's been synonymous with racing at Canandaigua, Paradise, Black Rock for years. Is it just by being around that family of racing that made you want to get into racing?
Yeah, just being around. Ever since I could remember, I was going to the track when I was younger. My dad actually raced Sportsman back in the 80s when the class first started. He raced back then for a few years, and a knee injury took him out, and my uncle got into it. And most of my years growing up, I remember helping my Uncle Paul through the years of his Sportsman deal. Just being around the cars and working on them, had the cars at the house and being at the shop all the time. And then, we became old enough where we got to the point where we just wanted to give it a try and had to get in one. So we started out right in the Sportsman car. We bought an older car and just worked our way up.
What was that like, sitting down in the seat and going out on the track for the first time?
It was pretty awesome. I drove the car once or twice. I think I drove over to Paradise for my first time on one of the practice nights over there. It was, it was a lot different. A lot different than you think, sitting outside the fence watching. My first race I've ever had was actually at Rolling Wheels, and that was one heck of a place to. I didn't get lapped or anything like that, and got some seat time. But once I sat in that seat, I was hooked.
And Rolling Wheels is a pretty high speed place. I mean, I'm not sure that there's probably any other. I mean, Canandaigua and Rolling Wheels probably get close to the same speeds, but man, those guys really haul around Rolling Wheels.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite tracks. That's one of the goals we have for this upcoming year. I'd love to get a win over Rolling Wheels. Our best place, we had a 4th place finish this year in a series race, and we've had some good top 5s, but actually we had a second the year before, so we're looking for that first one at Rolling Wheels. That's one of our favorite tracks.
Now, we usually do that toward the end of the interview, but now that you say, 2014, let's just go there. What are you guys looking for next year?
We're just looking for more wins. I'm not really a points chasing kind of guy. We do run Canandaigua weekly, and we'll hopefully be there in the end. But we're just going out for more wins. We had 2 wins this year at Canandaigua, so I mean, if we can better that total and get a few more there, I know it's a tough place to get a win. There's a lot of competition there, so if we can better those 2 wins, and points will take care of themselves. But we're also going to branch out a little bit. We're going to run the Grit Series, which is a 15 race series across tracks across New York State. It's a new series starting up, so we're looking forward to traveling around and some new tracks that we haven't been to yet.
Now, the Grit Series, you're actually the second guy that talked to us tonight about the Grit Series. What is it that is attracting these drivers over to that series?
A lot of it has to do with the rules. It's one set of rules. It's basically, the same every track we go to. It's going to be the same set of rules, no matter, if they run with a dirt banner or if they run, just an outlaw set of rules. If you go there on that specific night, and it's a grit race, you race by the grit rules. So that makes it a lot easier, just having everyone, uniformed under one set of rules. The pay is pretty decent for the Sportsman. Each race is $100 to start, to at least $1,000 to win, so it makes your travel, gives you back a little bit of your travel costs. I mean, you're not out there to make money, but if you can make a little bit to cover some of your costs, that's always a good thing.
Certainly takes the sting away.
Yeah, definitely. Point fund at the end of the year, I mean, it's looking good. So far what they have posted up as a point fund, it's looking great. Each week they have some different contingency prizes and different giveaways throughout the year, gift certificates and product sponsors. So, I mean, it's just pretty appealing. The Dirt Series, it's just now what we're looking to do. A lot of the travel. We have a few days into Canada. I mean, there's 4, 5, 6 races that are in Canada, and some of them are 3-day weekends on holidays. And with my job and the crew guys and the family and stuff, it's hard to get away on those holiday weekends and be gone for 3 nights and hotel rooms and fuel and everything like that. So we took a look at this series. It looks like 1 race a month, 2 races a month sometimes, and they're kind of spread out. So it looks like we can swing it.
Well, that's good to hear because, yeah, like you just touched on, I mean, a lot of times the Dirt Series is taking the local guys like yourself and like Kevin that we talked to earlier and putting them on an Empire Super Sprint type of schedule. And that, for some guys, that's just not feasible. And probably most guys, not some guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of days off of work. I mean, you're talking, a few vacation days just to go racing, and a lot of guys like to, they like to go to Dirt Week, they like to go to Charlotte, and it's just a lot of time away from home tonight, a lot of nights in the shop. It takes a whole lot of dedication, and when we looked at the point fund and everything, and the Grit Series is paying better than the Sportsman Dirt Series is right now. So, I mean, just to go out and try something new and hit some of these new tracks, and not have to travel like crazy in and out of Canada and stuff like that. Just seems like a good time.
Yeah. Well, that's the Grit Series is something that we're going to keep our eye on as well, because it certainly seems to be to be gaining popularity with a lot of the local guys. That they have those different regions where you've got some travel, but it's not crazy. It's not 3 nights in Canada or anything of that sort. So we're going to keep our eye on that for sure. Let's talk about 2013. You got a couple of wins over there at Canandaigua. 14 top 10s, 9 top 5s. I believe that was that 4th place in points. So what was your outlook on the season overall?
We really had a good season. We switched over from Bicknell cars to a Troyer car this year. It was our first year, with something other than a Bicknell. I raced 6 years with a Bicknell car. We thought there'd be a little bit of a learning curve, but right out of the box, the car was great. It was a car we picked up from Jimmy Phelps, one of his Troyer House cars from the year before. But we really had good luck with it. It ran good. We picked up 2 wins. We started out really hot at the beginning of the season. We had a string of 7 or 8 top 5s in a row at Canandaigua and some other tracks that we hit. In the middle of the season, we kind of got away from basics a little bit and tried to go faster. We kind of tuned ourselves out a little bit, and then toward the end of the year, we picked it up, got back to basics, and started running up front again. Hit some top 5s and traveled around a little bit. And actually, the last night out in Canandaigua, we picked up that one. So we ended with a pretty good run, and overall, it was a pretty good year. We didn't bang anything up and didn't have any bad luck at all. So overall, I can't complain.
That's good. I know that this year, mid-season was a rather tough part of the year for you guys, with the passing of Givo's wife. How much did that loss within your race team motivate you guys to run your very best right after that happened?
Oh, it was big for us. As you know, it's a big, family group that we go to the track with, and Givo and Bar have always been part of that, and, Givo's a big part of, our race team, my uncle's race team. Kevin, myself, and my brother all work out of the same race shop. Givo helps each one of us out, and, we're pretty close with him, so it was a big loss for the whole team. It wasn't just, a sponsor's wife or anything like that. It's to consider Givo family, and his family is our family, so it was a pretty big loss, and there's a little bit of pressure to go out and run well that night, so Paul went out and actually won the race, and we had a pretty good finish, so as long as, someone kept it in one of our cars in the stable in victory lane, I guess that was a good thing, so.
And you guys did that for a couple weeks there. It seemed like for a couple weeks there, if it wasn't you, it was Paul, and if it wasn't Paul, it was you, and I'm sure that meant a lot to the whole team.
Yeah, we had a really good string going. Paul, Kevin, and myself, we're, top 5 most weeks, and, every night we came home, we couldn't complain because, one of the cars out of the shop were right up front. So, it was a great season. Each one of us, I wish I could have lost 3rd place by 1 point on the last leg to Dan Wiesner, or we would have had a 1-2-3 finish. But overall, we had a good season, all of us, so I can't really complain. We had a good time. It was clean racing all year, and, we had a good track to race on, and no complaints here.
Kevin touched on that a little bit in the interview that we did about how much racing room there is at Canandaigua, and he said that he had the same wheels that he ran all year long and the same bumpers, and you really don't get that at a lot of tracks. That makes for some good racing.
Yeah, it was awesome this year. The last 2 years it's been great. Like Kevin said, I went through the same wheels, the bumpers. I actually went to a race at the end of the year at Black Rock, and had a guy come up and ask if I bought a new body every year, and we do. We usually, change up the paint scheme a little bit. And he actually drove down from Pennsylvania and bought, the body and bumpers that were off it that day because they still look like new. So, I mean, anytime you can do that at the end of the year, it's been a good season. And you get to, tip your hat to Jeremy for the track prep up there. Track was great. Gave us some room to race on. And then, all the guys to race with. I mean, there's a lot of new guys in the class, a lot of veterans. Everybody ran clean. And no complaints.
And I know that the track prep and I mean, what is it from a driver's standpoint? What is it like to race for a guy like Jeremy who promotes Canandaigua, is really putting the Canandaigua name out there to race fans and bringing in new fans and bringing back fans that haven't been to the track in a long time? I mean, what's that like for you drivers out there?
Oh, it's nice for us. I mean, we've been in Canandaigua for a long time, and going back to the years that I helped Paul, and it was good, back a long time ago, and then it, kind of got bad a little bit toward the end of, when Dirt had it for a little while, and then it's nice to see the resurgence of fans, car count going back up again, and, everyone that you talk to, that's what they do on Saturday. All the big names are back there in the big blocks, and I mean, it's nice to go to the track and watch, it's like a series race to watch those modified guys go there. And, I mean, anytime we get a chance to go up and watch, it's awesome. It's just, it's fun being a fan watching Canandaigua because it's back. The crowd's there. I mean, car counts, like I said, and there's good racing all the way around, every class.
Do you guys get a lot of opportunity to watch the modifieds or watch any of the other divisions?
It all depends. They try to keep us on our toes a little bit because they switch up the program every Saturday night. Sometimes we run our feature first, sometimes it's last, sometimes, it's in between. So usually when we run before the modifieds, we can watch. If they do run before us, we try to go up and watch, the first half of it so we can kind of take a look at the track, how it's changing or drying up or anything like that. But, whenever we get a chance, we definitely go watch those guys.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, we talked about your plans for 2014. Race fans can look to see you guys at Canandaigua. And I know you said you're not so much a points guy, but will they see you every week there?
Yeah, we'll be there every week. I mean, we don't plan on missing any races or anything like that. But we're not out to race for points. We're out for wins. So if we can go for the win, we're going to go for the win, and then let the points take care of themselves. But yeah, we'll be there every week, and then we're going to hopefully hit the Grit Series every week.
And what cars are you going to have with your team there?
We're going to have I'll have my same 2012 Toyota car that I had. My younger brother, Matt, he was in his first full year last year at Canandaigua. He's going to be back again. He's got a newer car, updated some things, so he'll be a lot better. He picked up a couple of top fives next year, so he's looking for that first win. My uncle's back full-time again in Canandaigua. And you guys talked to Kevin. Kevin also works out of our shop, so he'll be back. So our 4 cars will be back at Canandaigua.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you so much for your time. Before we get you out of here tonight, I want to give you a chance to thank all of those good people that help get you to the racetrack every week.
Sure. First and foremost, I need to thank my wife, my friends and family. Without those guys, sponsors or not, we wouldn't make it to the track because those guys, put the work in. They put it into the shop, put it into the track, and it's a lot of time dedicated to racing every week. So I got to thank those guys first off. And then our sponsors, Givo's Rears and Gears, Yukon Gear and Axle, Wadham's Enterprises, Trout's Auto Recycling, Accident Parts Plus, Summit Chevy, Number 9 Video, and Pilot Graphic Design. Those guys have stuck it out with us, and it looks like we should be having everyone back on board for next year, so things are looking up, and can't wait for next year.
Well, that's good to hear. You got a great crew there, and Clint, I'm going to tell you what, there's one crew at Canandaigua every week that does. There's nobody that has more fun than that crew right there.
Yeah, the Guererri name is kind of synonymous with racing, and there's a lot of them, and, you wouldn't be doing it this long if you didn't still have fun doing it. So, I can believe that.
All right, Nick. Well, thanks again for your time tonight, and we'll talk to you again, before race season starts, or certainly after things get kicked off.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good Christmas.
All right, you too.
All right, you too.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
All right, Clint, that's Nick Guererri, driver of the 25G. You can plan to see him back each and every week over Canandaigua and some other select shows. Sounds like they're going to be following the Grit Series, and I think this is going to be an idea for an interview, trying to get somebody from the Grit Series on here, because that's two guys that we've talked to tonight that are looking to do that.
Yeah, and of course we had Del Welty on, and he raced the Grit Series. I think Brady Faltz maybe said something about racing one or two of the Grit races. So
yeah, we're going to have to definitely check that out.
You're listening to Turn 5.
Put down that greasy dirt burger and race on over to motorsportsnutrition.com. They fuel race teams and drivers like 410 Sprint Car driver Ryan Smith with healthy Advocare supplements and products. Visit motorsportsnutrition.com. Want to build a successful driver to race team to sponsor relationship? Visit www.horsepower360.com and consult with their expert staff that is trusted by 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Horsepower360.com.
Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage? I go to racechaseronline.com.
aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Welcome back to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, race fans. We are very lucky that our sponsor with motorsportsnutrition.com and horsepower360.com, Christy, was out at the PRI show, which was something we were going to talk about at the end of the show, and she was out there all weekend with Ryan Smith and the 94 team, and she's going to tell us about their travels this weekend. So, Christy, how was it?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, even the weather couldn't keep people away.
It seemed like everybody out there in Indy just had a ball out there.
It was, well, one, it's the first time that the show has returned to Indianapolis after many years of being gone, and was at another location in Orlando. And, so nobody was really sure how it would be perceived again, because it was huge when it was in Indianapolis. But when the show was in Florida, I was told they struggled to feed 500 vendors. This show saw twice that many. There were over 1,300 vendors at this show.
That's awesome.
The actual floor plan was almost overwhelming. Several rooms. There were corridors. There were seminars. There were clinics. There were question and answer sessions with PR heads, marketing people, motorsports teams. I mean, you name it, from soup to nuts, it was covered.
That's great to hear. And from your guys' perspective out there, what were you guys able to take away from the weekend?
Well, fortunately for us, being an open wheel team, Indianapolis will always be synonymous with open wheel racing. But this show not only has a backbone rooted in open wheel racing, but it attracts everything. We had drag bikes, we had top fuel cars, we had machinery, CNC machines, you name it, it was there. So anything that our team needed, we knew that we could find either the manufacturer, the vendor, or the distributor for a particular part, item, merchandise, whatever. And we could actually, put a face with the name instead of just talking to these people over the phone, which is what this show does. It provides you that personal touch, being able to be in physical contact with somebody. How many times do we pick up the phone and we only talk to somebody by phone? So this makes things a little easier, put faces with names, and you get to rub elbows with some of the more elite in the motorsports world.
Sure. And certainly there was a lot of announcements that came out of the weekend too. I mean, even just starting out with Steve Kinser's announcement. I mean, and it just trickles down from there. I mean, a lot of information coming out of PRI.
Well, like they say, the silly season starts hitting as soon as the last checker drops, and it generally starts before then. But PRI has always been that show that the big announcements are made, the big deals are finalized. Mobile One had an incredible booth there. Next to them was the GoPro, and everything that they had there. Kyle Larson's announcement. That whole end of the venue was just electric all weekend.
It seemed like there was a lot of posts and a lot of retweets, and that picture of Shane Stewart and Kyle Larson and that team. There was a lot of pictures being shared this weekend from that booth.
Oh yeah, it was just you would walk into a particular area and the electricity, the vibe, the energy, everything in that area would change, whether it was their specific team or one of the drag teams that had made several new announcements. It's just a very cool place.
Well, that's cool. Now, are the plans to keep PRI in Indy for the following year?
Well, I do believe that they have signed on for 2015 or 2014 at Indianapolis once again. And, obviously PRI was recently purchased by SEMA. And so, they're trying to bring a different edge to all this. So I'm sure next year will be an even better and bigger, more improved show. In the past, they not only had the convention center, but they also had the Colt Stadium. And the RCA Dome is no longer there. So several blocks down the street is now, the Lucas Stadium.
Yeah.
So, now that has changed, the venue is a little bit smaller than what it was years ago, but it was wall to wall, inch to inch, packed.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
who's anybody was in attendance. It was like going to the red carpet for motorsports. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. I mean, it's things like this that help us realize that racing is still healthy, and that's great to hear. And we appreciate your report and some of the findings out there at PRI. And again, we'll talk to you soon with more announcements and more exciting news on the racing scene.
Appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
All right, guys. That is Christy from motorsportsnutrition.com and horsepower360.com. She was out at the PRI show this weekend with Ryan Smith and the 94 team and checking out everything out there. And Clint, we say this all the time. We got to put it on the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting into this, I didn't know much about it. I've read here and there, of course, listening to Christy give great descriptions about it, and then seeing the tweets from Shane Stewart today, it was pretty cool. I'd look forward to something like that.
All right. Well, racers, when we come back from break, we're going to talk to Tom Baker, and we're going to talk short track racing with the owner and chief editor of Race Chaser Online. Come on back from the break. You're listening to Turn 5.
Put down that greasy dirt burger and race on over to motorsportsnutrition.com. They fuel race teams and drivers like 410 Sprint Car driver Ryan Smith with healthy Advocare supplements and products. Visit motorsportsnutrition.com. Want to build a successful driver to race team to sponsor relationship? Visit www.horsepower360.com and consult with their expert staff that is trusted by 410 Sprint Car and World of Outlaws driver Ryan Smith. Horsepower360.com.
Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage? I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. This is your host, Steve Ovens, alongside Clint Miller and B-Rad on the soundboard. We're going to head over to the hotline and bring in another guest to help us this evening, Tom Baker with Team Full Throttle, a Race Chaser Online, co-host with the Speed 77 radio shows. Tom, is there anything that you're not doing in racing right now?
I'm not driving, which really makes it safer for the other competitors on the track. I retired a few years ago after an illustrious career in go-karts. That ought to be good for a laugh from our Frozen Ocean listeners. See, I said it was good for a laugh.
That's right.
So, I'm awaiting my nomination into the Central New York Go-Kart Hall of Fame, and I'm disappointed that hasn't happened yet. But while I'm waiting for that, I've just gotten myself involved in a few other aspects of the sport, and I'm really kind of allergic to sleep. So I just added the ASCS Carolina Sprint Series to my umbrella here in the last couple of months. So we're doing a 305 sprint car series here in the Carolinas now too. So just something else to keep me busy during the 3 or 4 hours of the day that I'm not sleeping.
And that is a series, not just your series alone, but that division has really, really gained some traction recently all across North America.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, certainly the 305 sprint car, the thing that's interesting about the way that this is developed, there are a lot of guys who race in the 360s and the 410s that I think tend to look at the 305s as, a series that's not very economical, doesn't really serve a purpose, but in fact, it's actually quite the opposite. It definitely serves a purpose, and it is very economical. This is not a series that you get into if you're trying to, make big money racing a sprint car, because there isn't really big money in it. But if you go to certain sections of the country, for example, down in the Texas area and some of the other areas of the Southwest and the Far West, where the ASCS 305s really have a good foothold, they're doing a lot of shows that do pay $5,000 to win. And, I think sometimes I think when you go to that extent with a 305, you're almost overdoing it, because the whole idea is the 305 was developed as a working man sprint car series, and I don't think it was necessarily designed to offer that kind of, big purse to win. But certainly the way that the 305 has caught on the East Coast is it's caught on as an entry-level sprint car series, and I think that more fits where it needs to be. We're developing the Carolina Sprint Car Series as a sprint car series that we don't have a lot of sprint cars in the North Carolina, South Carolina area. We probably have 20, maybe 23, 24 total that are in the Carolinas that we know of anyway, that aren't connected already, for example, to the World of Outlaws or some higher series like that. So what the drivers seemed to want was a series that actually offered a point fund, which we have through ASCS's relationship with Hoosier Tire. We've got a point fund to start the season with, a series that offers a decent purse. We're paying $500 to win. We're paying $100 to start. That's the base purse. And then it's about a $5,000 total purse. And then the other advantage to it is it's a traveling series. So we've got shows that we've got scheduled in North Carolina, in South Carolina, and in Georgia right now. We're looking at about probably a 12-race schedule. And so for an area of the country that's not really sprint car heavy at the moment, but does have a lot of sprint car enthusiasts, it's really provided something that's been much needed. We have a series down here that's a Race Saver series that started with about 13 cars last year, ended with 4 or 5 consistently at the track. They ran 8 shows, and some of the guys, it was a good series, but some of the guys just wanted to tour more. They wanted to take it up a notch without going crazy with it. And ASCS was originated, the ASCS sanction for this series here was originated actually by Sean Mott, who was from up in the New York area and is down here now. And Sean and I got together and we've kind of partnered up on it. And I've taken over ownership and control of it and am promoting it. And Sean is helping me with building it up and all of that. Sean's going to race in it, but it's going to be a neat little series, and we're pretty excited about it. We've gotten some great feedback from the tracks down here. They're really excited to see a series that wants to grow and wants to be impactful, and that's something that this area hasn't had. And ASCS has been great to us. The marketing power of that brand is phenomenal, and I think that all ties into the general trends that I see in short track racing, which is to go. You're seeing a lot more of these entry-level type divisions, these, crate motor, the divisions where it really is focused on limiting costs. And, in this economy, I think that's needed, and I'm seeing those divisions pop up in the dirt late models. We've got a division down here that is doing that called the Fuel Late Model Series. I don't remember what all of that stands for, but that's going to make its debut next year. And so there's some really good ideas, I think, out there now for, having race cars that are more affordable and that still provide people with plenty of speed and power and enjoyment without costing an arm and a leg. And I think, there's some real value for the track promoters as well in being able to bring, sprint cars in at an affordable price and still have it be a 20-car show or a 25-car show, and being able to bring in late models at an affordable price without paying a super late model tour price or whatever. So I like that trend that I see, and there's some very clever series developers getting involved here that are really coming up with some good ideas. So I think that's good overall for the state of short track racing in general.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like with the work that you guys have done already, it's being well received both by the tracks, the drivers, and probably for some drivers that were maybe on the fence of do they want to continue doing this or not. They're probably looking at your series and saying, hey, I think this is something I want to do.
Yeah, that's been a lot of what we've gotten. And actually, I've gotten phone calls from series in Florida, from series in New York, from series in Western Pennsylvania, wondering what we got going on and wondering how ASCS fits into this, because I don't think a lot of people on the East Coast knew that ASCS even did a 305 series. And, they surely didn't realize what the package was. And, you've got some other options out there for 305 series. But to me, when I looked at everything side by side, there's really no comparison in terms of the overall presentation of the way ASCS goes about it. It's the perfect blend of marketing ability and branding, because you've got ASCS's national series, of course, that you see all the time on MAV TV and such. So you've got that brand association with Lucas Oil and with NAV TV, but at the same time, it's also still a very affordable rules package. You can run either the ASCS stamped 305 motor package or the Race Saver motor package, and it really works out great. Yeah, it's been interesting that there seems to be a lot more conversation up and down the East Coast about what the overall 305 sprint car is, and of course it's growing like crazy in some of our neighboring states like Tennessee, and even the Kentucky area. You're starting to see more of them. It's natural that this would kind of be we didn't start out thinking we were kind of creating a much bigger, broader opportunity for the guys, but we were just trying to grow it here in the Carolinas. But we've been real humbled and thankful that it's gotten so much interest from some of the neighboring states, and I'm hoping that we can get everybody on the same package for rules and such, and really grow 305 sprint car racing up and down the East Coast to where we can start to do some of those bigger money regional shows, as we get into 2015 and beyond, to try to draw some cars and really give some folks who don't have the ability or the opportunity to the resources to go World of Outlaws, it gives them a solid way to get into sprint car racing very affordably and to compete at a level that's still going to be very high. I mean, we've got some really good young drivers that are going to be racing with us in our series here this year, in addition to guys like Johnny Petrozelli, who is a young guy, but he was the Race Saver champion down here last year. And Johnny's also got a development car, rental car that he's going to be putting together. And Sean is also going to have a rental. So we're going to have a couple of teams with cars for somebody who wants to just get a taste of what it's like to be able to rent them and go racing for a night. And they're very easy to work with and work on. And so it really has been a fun and a very, challenging exercise for me. But we're excited about what that can bring. And again, it comes back to the overall trend that I see in short track racing toward divisions like this. And then you start seeing more of these races on television, such as the World of Outlaws on CBS Sports and what ASCS is doing with MAV TV. And, you're starting to see more of this kind of thing. And I love that trend. And I know that there's another very big package of short track racing coverage being put together for 2014 as well that I can't really comment on right now, but it's when that announcement is made after the first of the year, some people are going to be very surprised. And so short track racing on television is going to really pick up, and that's going to be great for everybody because it exposes fans around the country to divisions and series that they may not be familiar with. And I'm sure it's just going to, make it much easier in terms of, once you can be able to start showing potential sponsors that, hey, these races I'm running are on TV or series like this are on TV, we're heading in that direction. That's going to obviously make your particular venture more marketable too. So it works in everybody's favor.
And speaking of marketing, I know that you're also working on a project as well to help these race drivers and race teams with marketing their team and attracting sponsors to help them with the 2014 season.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a project. It's just what it is I've obviously one of the biggest things that the most short track racers and teams lack is the understanding of how to get sponsors to sponsor the race team. And I've never wanted to bring anyone in as a client with the idea that I'm going to find them a sponsor, because anybody who would sell somebody that package is starting off, I don't want to say with a lie, but it's just not a guaranteed outcome. If I could guarantee I could find someone a sponsor, I would be working in Cup, because there are teams up there that struggle to find enough sponsors. There are teams that are winning in NASCAR that are struggling to find full season sponsors. So that's not a guaranteed outcome. But one of the things that I have developed, and I'm really excited about this too, is I've developed a coaching package. It's basically an individualized marketing training package. It's a phone coaching package, or we can use Skype if the driver has it. But it's not just limited to drivers. It can be a race team owner or whoever wants to learn. And it's a very affordable package. And what it is it's a 4-week training package. It's designed just to basically teach the driver or the race team member how to approach a sponsor, what the sponsors look for, what the language needs to be, how to make the phone call, what to say, the first approach, how to develop the sponsor proposal, and all of that. And, in the past, I've been more focused on kind of all-in-one programs and doing the whole all of the marketing and PR services and website and all of that. But I the last couple of years, I've started to break pieces of that into an a la carte kind of situation, and I finally got this marketing training program to where I'm happy enough with it to break it out and sell it as an individualized piece. And I think there's a need for this because a lot of it is just not. It's not that teams aren't capable of finding sponsors. It's just not understanding how to approach them. It's not understanding what to say. It's not realizing that this is a business transaction, not a donation. So, you don't want to just go up to somebody and ask them, hey, do you want to sponsor my race team? It shouldn't be approached like that. So it's really just helping them to better understand how to approach. And then if after that they want more help, we can offer that to them. But this package is just designed basically to be, it's a $249 package. It's really inexpensive, and it's just a way to gain a completely different understanding of what sponsorship is and just how valuable your race team can be to a potential sponsor if you have the the right approach, and if you understand how to sell it. So it's really it's an opportunity for some folks who are really on a budget to get about 4 hours of individualized quality training and get some of their questions answered about their particular situation that they may not understand, and help them to maybe correct some things and do a better job of going out and chasing sponsors, because a lot of it isn't lack of ability, it's just lack of knowledge, and it's just approaching it not in the right way, not as a business transaction, but as more of a donation, and there's more to it than that. So that's what I'm excited about. It's something that I've just finished putting the finishing touches on and have just started to offer it. You can purchase the package through the Team Full Throttle Facebook store. It's real easy to do. Or you can reach me through that as well if you have questions. But again, it's a 4-hour individualized training package, $249, and we focus on your team and your needs and help you to maximize your efforts with what you're trying to accomplish. So I think teams will find it very helpful. I know the teams that I've trained and the drivers that I've trained as part of the bigger packages all find it kind of I don't want to use the word revolutionary, that doesn't sound right, but just it changes their thinking completely about their worth to a potential sponsor, because most race teams underestimate that. So it's just a way of getting that knowledge. So
definitely. Yeah. Well, for any of our drivers teams that are hearing this and saying, I think that's something that could work for us, over onto Facebook and look up Team Full Throttle, and Tom and his staff can help you out with that. What else have you guys got coming up this week? I know you've got some new exciting articles coming out with the Race Chaser brand.
Well, we actually have. I mean, there's the Race Chaser online website's doing great, and man, between you and Jacob Steelman and a couple of the other guys, I'm struggling to keep up here. Today we had a feature on Clint King, as a young racer from down this way in Thomasville, North Carolina, who's going K&N Series East next year. And Clint is a young driver who's very humble, very faithful, and really he ended up actually on some nationwide teams short lists this past year until they realized he wasn't old enough to run all the tracks yet. But he's going to run K&N East with his own team starting in 2014. They're still putting the pieces together for that. We've got a feature on Joe Gozick that Nick Graziano put together that's going to be coming out as well, Double O Joe. And
Double O Joe,
and Nick did a great job on that. Looking forward to that's going to be out here coming up this week. Also, got an article coming out. I think that Jacob's just about ready to put a couple of articles out. Actually, Matt Tift one of the young racers from the K&N East Series who's been running for Kenny Schrader. That's coming up. And Jacob's actually interviewed a bunch of the K&N West, K&N East type drivers, ARCA type drivers. So that's going to be coming up. And, of course, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, we're going to have our final Motorsports Madness show for the 2013 season. And we're going to have Joel Sebastianelli on the show. Joel's going to talk a lot of Indy and Formula One. There's so much stuff coming out of Indianapolis now with the announcement of Ryan Briscoe in the Ganassi car and some other things that are going on. So we're hoping to have him on, and I'm sure if you're able, we want to get you on as well to talk about some of the goings on up north with some of the announcements that have come out. Dale Plank just ended up with a big time announcement here in the last couple of days.
Yeah, that was one that I won't say that I was shocked about, but based on how that ride transpired last year, it wasn't really sure whether or not Plank was going to be back with the Mike Payne racing team, but they have announced that they are going to have the Natural back in the seat of the 7Z for the big block tour. They're going to do some small block races as well, and some special shows, maybe some ROC events, and so that was big. I'm working on that, and we've got some other local goodies on the way for Race Chasers. So
good. Well, it should be a big week. We're excited about it, and we're going to publish. We're going to publish every day as usual, right up till the Christmas holiday. We'll take a couple days off, publish toward the end of the week. Actually, Jacob Steelman is going to be on site at the Rumble in Fort Wayne. Just after
there
Christmas.
You go.
Yeah, so he's going to be doing live updates on our Facebook page throughout that couple days of racing out there at the Rumble. And I'm sure he'll have a bunch of audio and some follow-up stuff afterward once it's over. So that's we're going to cover that hot and heavy toward the end of the Christmas week. So stay tuned for that. That should be a lot of fun. We're excited that Jacob was able to do that. So hopefully it'll be a good show out there, and he'll be able to bring us lots of goodies from that.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, Tom, again, Team Full Throttle on the Facebook page, racechaseronline.com, and I believe the email there is news@racechaseronline.
Yep, news@racechaseronline.com. If you got team PRs or driver PRs, and if you need help, that's the other thing too. Is that's one thing I am working on, and certainly available. If there are any teams out there that need help with their PR, with writing PRs, I'm going to develop should have that in place by the end of the calendar year here. A mentoring and coaching program for how to write a good press release, because again, a lot of folks can't afford to hire someone like me to do it, but it really is just a question of learning how to do it the right way, and so that's something else that we're trying to offer some courses to teach some of the folks how to do the work themselves, and that's something else that's going to be available here hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I've started writing it, I just haven't finished it yet, so we'll get to that as well. So yeah, news at Race Chaser Online. We'll do our best to get them up there and get them posted. That's one thing we want to cover, all things short track as much as possible. We even have a V8 Supercar Insider now for those of you who like the Australian V8 Supercars. James Pike has been doing a great job with the coverage on that here the last month or so. So lots of good stuff going on. Our Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report coming up on Thursday. Dylan Bassett, the lead guest there, and we're gonna be chatting with some other folks as well. That's 7:00 Eastern on Thursday, and Motorsports Madness 7:00 Eastern tomorrow night on Tuesday. And guys, thanks, man. Appreciate both of you, and certainly glad to have you as part of the Race Chaser umbrella. You're doing a great job there with the Turn 5 podcast, and we're just enjoying the heck out of listening to you every week.
Well, we appreciate you taking us in under the banner, and it's really it's a great thing to have almost anything on wheels, on asphalt, on dirt. We cover it all. So
we're trying. We're trying, sure. If we don't, we will be soon. So
that's right.
We just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So,
All right,
thanks
guys,
a lot,
have a great
Tom, for
night.
joining
Thanks
us.
again. Yes,
All
take
right.
care, and we'll talk soon.
All right, race fans. That's Tom Baker with Team Full Throttle, Race Chaser Online, and the ASCS Carolina 305 Sprints coming to a track in the Carolinas or Georgia near you. When we come back from break, Clint and I are going to put the cap on the show. So stay tuned to Turn 5.
Hey Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They have the most up-to-date karaoke to make your bar or party a great event. They also have the wedding DJs that will make your wedding reception one that the family will remember forever. Contact them online at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Kick off your holiday shopping now at Radio Shack. You'll find low prices on the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus a huge selection of must-have accessories. Radio Shack also has big savings on RC toys, batteries, plus stocking stuffers like flash drives and memory cards. And don't miss the great deals on portable Bluetooth speakers, top-name headphones, fitness gear, and more. So get a jump on your holiday shopping and start saving today at Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. This is Steve Ovens alongside Clint Miller over there at Casa De Porkchop Studios. And Clint, I know we couldn't make connection with Chris Doherty tonight, but we certainly had two great interviews prior to that, and great interviews with Christy Cottrell from PRI this weekend and Tom Baker talking short track racing. You know, even when not everything goes right, we still come out with a really good show.
Yeah, not everything goes right, and yet it still turns out right. It's just testament to working hard and finding people that are interested in talking.
That it is, and I got to tell you, I'm really looking forward to next week's show on location at the Poorhouse in Dundee. Again, advertise to all of the drivers locally. If you're anywhere near Dundee next Monday night at 7 o'clock, you need to stop by. We will do as many of those interviews as we can possibly do. And, you know, we're going to try and fill at least an hour show, if not an hour and 15, maybe hour and 20. But if any drivers are willing to come out and show up, we'll interview them. Yeah,
this is kind of exciting. You never know what you're going to get when you step foot over there. And if you put some hooting and holler and some drivers around in there, and it could make for a really interesting show.
That it could for sure. Couple of things that we wanted to touch on as we get ready to close the show is, I think for sure an idea for an upcoming episode is going to be getting the series director for the Grit series on the show, because that is really something that's gained a lot of popularity in the last year.
Boy, it has too. I up until probably midway through last year, I hadn't even heard of it, and then all of a sudden I heard rumblings here and there, and now we've talked to 4 or 5 drivers in the last couple of weeks that that are going to follow the tour every week, and it's kind of a cool deal. I mean, the prize fund's decent, so it keeps, it helps the sticker shock when you, by the time your night's over with. And I just think it's really cool. I love the traveling idea, and when every show isn't 3 hours away, it's kind of neat.
Yeah. And it's I think that's gonna promote more cars being at their shows too. I mean, that's really gonna be a nice selling point, having those regions. some other news that this one came out of PRI this weekend, but it's got a huge local ties. The Brett Deo Motorsports shows that you hear about, the Crazy 8 show, the Gobbler, Short Track Super Nationals, those kind of things. All of those Brett Deo shows are going to have a point fund this year. And with at least $5,000 going to the winner of that points race, there will be $500 going to 10th place and $250 to any car participating in every show. That's going to be a big deal. I can't even imagine what the car counts are going to be. They already have healthy car counts, but I can't imagine what the car count will go to now with that point fund.
Well, I think a couple of the Brett Deo shows that were at 5 Mile Point last year were 70-plus cars. So, yeah, I mean, what he does is just incredible, and people seem to follow him. Yeah.
And for following them, they're certainly going to be rewarded this coming season. So that's exciting news. Oswego Speedway unveiled their 2014 schedule. I know we waited a couple weeks for that. So make sure to race your way over to OswegoSpeedway.com and check out their schedule for the upcoming season. One thing that I know was big, was a pretty big change on their schedule, was the Race of Champions Asphalt Modified Race of Champions weekend is going to be moved back to the fall, where it usually was held. I know the last season, or maybe 2 seasons, they ran that during the summertime, and they're going to be moving that back to the fall. So all of that came out from Oswego. They'll be getting started back up here in May, and certainly going to be a lot of excitement there at the Steel Palace. And Clint, to look at some other tracks that have put out schedules, the only one that I've really seen locally was, I believe it was Clinton County and Raceway 5, I think, put their schedule out.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Race New York. And
that's where I was looking as well. But nothing locally yet.
No, I'm kind of interested to see BlackRock's schedule come out. The rumors are rampant whether it's going to be a schedule like it was last year, or they're going to go to a full schedule. We know they're bringing in the 305s. Nothing was really said at the banquet on whether they were dropping the late models or dropping the class. So, everything's still up in the air. The only thing we know for sure is that Doug's Auto Body is going to sponsor the class, and it's $500 to win every night. And that's pretty much all we really know. One of the other rumblings was that they may move a qualifying weekend for the Dutch Hogue Empire 100. They might move a qualifying weekend in April, so that there's not so much racing going on that big long day in October.
Yeah, that puts a lot of pressure on the track crew and everybody there, especially if, let's face it, it's October, September, October. You never know what you're going to get weather-wise, so
yeah,
that would be.
And I would have to say that the track conditions that they had last year because of Mother Nature is something that they don't want to deal with if they don't have to. But obviously, you can't control that. But let's just say that it was less than tolerable conditions.
Yeah. Any other news that came out down when you guys were enjoying the banquet down there in Watkins Glen?
Not really. Most of the other, I guess one of the biggest ones was IMCA champion Phil Yaw sold his IMCA, and he bought one of Chris Doherty's sports mods. So he's going to move up to the Sportsman class next year. I believe Scott Bennett bought Phil's late IMCA. So, we'll stay tuned to there to see if they'll have a car that comes to Black Rock or not. And Jeremy Petrovowski, of course, we had him on the show. He's going to come back and defend his title. Alley Cat's defending her title. We already knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it sounds like we're going to have to wait for the schedule to come out. It doesn't sound like the late models are going anywhere, but we really don't have a report to confirm that either.
Yeah,
so.
Because at the banquet he was, when you only run half a schedule and then you get rained out 5 or 6 times, it has a tendency to hurt the point fund. And
sure.
And that was brought up, and he talked like he was working with American Racer or Hoosier on maybe a track tire to try to help boost money in the point fund. So I don't know.
Sure.
It's just a lot of stuff that
I think there's a lot of questions that once the schedule comes out will be answered. And one thing they do know is that the 305 sprints are coming in, and it'll be interesting to see how that takes off. It'll be interesting to see how many Canandaigua guys will come over and want to run 2 nights a weekend instead of just running Saturday nights. It'll also be interesting once the Canandaigua schedule comes out to see all that they have planned for the year.
Yeah, we already know mid-April is their Corcoran Memorial.
Yep, that'll be the Jan Corcoran Memorial. That will be a Super Dirt Series, Big Block Super Dirt Series race. Speaking of the Big Block Super Dirt Series, we were talking to Tom about it earlier. Mike Payne Racing signing Dale Plank, the natural, to sit in the seat of the 7Z, carrying on from their relationship from last year running together.
Fairly successful relationship.
Yeah, they didn't have a bad year. The one thing that I'll say, though, is toward the end of the year, they had a couple runs where it was just like, wow, they were – Clint, you talk about being – if you're a little bit off, you're a lot off. And there was a couple races toward the end of the season where they were off by a little, but they were off a ton. It was getting lapped. I can't remember. It might have been Syracuse. They seemed like they struggled at Syracuse, if I remember correctly. And so we'll see how those guys come back in 2014 with a full schedule. And the other thing I want to remind you is Night 2 of the World of Outlaws World Finals will be on CBS Sports Network. It'll be this Sunday, December 22nd, 9 p.m. Check your local listings for that. And I think that's about all I got, Clint. You got anything more?
No.
We're going to be at the Poorhouse.
We're going to be at the Poorhouse next Monday night. Oh, boy.
So for Steven, that's myself. For Clint and for Brad, for Nick Guererri, Kevin Ridley, Christy Cottrell, and Tom Baker, I'm the host of Turn 5, Steve Ovens from Bozeman, Montana, saying, race fans, be sure to check it before you wreck it. We'll see you at the Poorhouse next Monday night.